Yeah, let me know, guys, if you can see my screen. If yes, really excited about this stream, as I said. Um, if you can see my screen, you can already see which level I'm looking at for the shots. But just confirm if you can see my screen, okay? In meantime, let me just find this one chart. Yeah, that is. Um, um, in the chat, if you guys can confirm if you can see the screen, it would be like really helpful, and that's the chart I also want to talk about is this. So mm, you can see my screen, right? It's funny, no one is confirming, but yeah, okay. I guess, yeah, okay. Thank you. So this chart, first of all, I will talk about this chart. This was like a chart I sent like hours ago, like 5 to 6 hours ago, before we saw a nuke on the Bitcoin. And you can see this was my short zone, and I explained that short zone on my last stream. By the way, if you did not watch my last stream, I would highly advise you that you should just go and watch my last stream. It was like a huge alpha. I thought accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Not just that, I like explained all the psychology why I am bearish on the Bitcoin. And just after that stream, you can see Bitcoin just nuked $4,000. So this was my short zone. Sorry, guys, sorry. And I explained what was the reason for this short zone, and this was my long zone. I also explained the reason for that. And just to show you, I'm just doing this for the flex. You can see how beautifully we respected our zone. If I go and enable the rectangles, it should be here, but I don't know why it is not here. But yeah, this was the long zone where I marked. It was posted on my channel, by the way. If you're a VIP member, you would be able to see it. So this was the level I marked it as buy zone, and you can see, or you can already see this is a bounce. But if I'm seeing a bounce, does that mean, I mean, you will ask me, okay, Ways, you said that we should long from here, but why are you not in a long position? I mean, it makes sense, of course, why I'm not in a long position, and the reason is purely because of this. No, I know this can be like overwhelming for a beginner, but it is like pretty simple. This literally just tells you what cumulative spots and perps are doing throughout the multiple exchanges. So right now you can already see the Coinbase represents the US investors, and you can see they are like at the lows. You never want to see red candles, you just want to see buying coming in, but this is not good. We are seeing shorts opening in, multiple shorts opening in, so we can see a small squeeze towards like this, because you can see we have a, if you can see my cursor, we have a this long perp, and you can already see we are doing a lot of selling lately on the perps as well. So this indicates that shorts are being opened. So there is a chance that we see a short squeeze. We liquidate all these. We tap into these imbalances of 4 hour FEGs, and then we go lower. This can of course happen, and that is basically what I'm expecting. That is why I have a limit, not exactly a limit, but that is my idea, to make an entry somewhere around here, wherever I get a reaction from. So I am expecting a short squeeze, because a lot of people are shorting despite being at the lows, which is of course is not a good sign. This just tells you that there is just not enough interest in a Bitcoin. And not just that perps are being opened, it is just there is not enough spot buying for me to just say that we are gonna go up higher. That is what not I like. There should be spot buying coming in, which represents that price can go higher and reclaim this value area high, something like this. This would cause me to turn bullish, and then we can go higher. But unfortunately, you can see there is just no bullet spot buyings coming in. So and this is not the type of reaction you want to see at the lows. I mean, you can even do you remember this support, right? This was the breakout of this 90k range. We had this Christmas range, we did a breakout of this. You can see, sorry, you can see we did a breakout retest, and then we went higher. And when we came back to retest, you can already see the reaction. This is the type of impulsive reaction you want to see from a range, from a pivot, major pivot zone like this. But if you compare this price action to this is not an impulse move. This is just like a choppiness, and this is moreover look like a bearish flag, and the price will just continue to go lower. That is basically what it looks like, and I don't like this. Plus, it is not backed by the order flow as well. This is not like a major order flow. I do not really utilize the order flow in my strategy, but Yeah, not a fan of overall whatever happening is here. And this can also, because there is a bank holiday, the markets are not open, but still there should have been some impulsive move. And if we haven't seen any type of impulsive move yet, this just means that there is not enough um, bulls, and the bears are completely in control now. I mean, if you look at the overall picture, things are still bullish. We are making higher highs. This is just a higher high. We are retesting this major range we had. So, what could go wrong, right? I mean, if you see it from a retailer perspective, I mean, everyone is retailer in the end, right? So, if you see it from that perspective, this was a range high resistance, right? And what price is doing is that it is just retesting that, and we are seeing this small bounce as well, and people are longing from this. So what can go wrong, right? But that's the problem. It is not that easy. Only if it was that easy, everyone would have been making. I mean, sometimes it is that easy, and I could be wrong, right? But if what I see on the chart right now, what I see on the back end, I just don't like what I'm seeing. Like, this was the most, what I think, my psychology is, when the price did a breakout of this range and the price came here, this was the most obvious long. But many people did not longed it from here. Why? Because they thought that price is gonna go lower, because they thought that we have done a failed auction of the value area high, etc. And I was one of those people. Even though I had a limit placed, I cancelled my limit and I never longed it from here, even though the price gave a lot of opportunities to long. And you can see we got an impulsive move after that, and I was wrong. And I'm thinking they are setting a trap this time, that where they are giving another obvious long. And trust me, most of the time you never get obvious long, you never get obvious setup. This is just an obvious long, and I think they're gonna trap. They're gonna go lower and do SFP of this, or go higher, or they're just gonna send it lower to this NPOC. Anything can happen, but I'm not optimist that this bounce itself is enough that we are gonna flip this and make an all-time high. I think there will be another sweep coming in, very very long, very very soon, and that is why I'm looking to short somewhere around from this level. I will explain the reasoning of that, but I'm just explaining the overall price action. And if you are following my streams for a long time, you would know that I'm not a fan of whatever we have done here, because this is not how bottoms are formed. You can see we never swept this low, we never swept this low, we never swept this low, or this low, or this low, or this low. How many lows you want me to like count? We never swept all of this, and price never bottoms like this. It always needs to sweep the liquidity to go up. This is not like some technical analysis. It is basically supply and demand. It is liquidity, that if price does not sweep the liquidity, it does not have enough power to go up. And it's basic. I can even show you the example. Before we had this huge dump, you can see what happened. Price swept all this, price swept all this liquidity, including this high. There is no liquidity left once we made this all-time high. And look what happened. A nuke happened just after a couple of days of the all-time high, and then this happened. But if you see what's happening here, this is not the case. We are leaving the lows. We are not sweeping the lows. All this liquidity is left. So what it makes most sense that we will come down, we will sweep this, and then we can talk about going higher. But to be honest, for me, if we go down from here, then I'm most likely expecting much lower. If I give you an example of this price action as well, I have explained that on my previous stream. I'm just covering it really fast. You can see we swept this low, we swept this low, we never swept anything here. That is just a major bearish sign that you are looking on the Bitcoin right now. And trust me, everything comes down to basic momentum and price action trading. It is what it is. Like, people will tell you fancy concepts, but in the end, if you are not able to understand the trend, basic momentum, price action, you can use any strategy you have in the world, but you will not be able to do proper intradays or scalps. You will need to understand the price action in the end. So yeah, that is my overall thought on the Bitcoin. Now I can quickly overgo and explain what is the reason for this area for me to look at the short. First of all, if I go on a 4 hour time frame, I'm on a 4 hour time frame, you can see we have an imbalance here, inverse imbalance. So for the people who does not know, let's say this is an FVG, and if a price is going up, sorry, this is an FEG. Price creates an FEG, and now technically it should do something like this since it's an FEG. But what happens sometimes is that price does this. It does not respects the FEG. becomes an inverse, and then something like this happens. That is why you see head and shoulders pattern at the lows as well. That's basically the reason. Um uh, so yeah, you can see that that is simply what I'm expecting here. That we have this 4 hour inverse FVG coming in here. Not just that, we have a 4 hour FVG as well. So we have two confluences, not exactly two confluences. You can count this as one X confluence, inverse FVG. And if I draw this volume profile from current market price to when we had this impulse move coming in, the start of this impulse move, you can see we have this value area low and low volume nodes. These are low volume nodes. You can see these are really small nodes, so these are low volume nodes. So whenever price will come back to this, price is supposed to be really impulsive. So if we flip this, that is what I'm trying to explain. If we flip this, then it's most likely we will go and sweep all this liquidity. If we flip this value area um low. But if we don't flip this, then obvious move is of course the lower, and I am expecting that. But if there is possibility that we can of course flip this and go higher, we do not know what's going to happen. We can only observe and then react on the basis of what we observed. That should be our motto on the trading. So um if you flip this, that I'm expecting a sweep of all this, then we can again. And this is there is a 1 hour FEG, by the way. If I go on a 1 hour time frame, so you can see there is a 1 hour FEG. This is the 1 hour FEG, and then we can go lower. And if I draw the Fibonacci as well, you can see this also aligns with the discount area. So yeah, you can see everything aligns together when you know what you're doing. So if we flip the value area low, that would be my area to go for shorts. And this, the invalidation for this idea would be stop loss above this. You can play tight stop loss, like a stop loss above this, but I would just like to be safer and have a stop loss above this, something above 98k. So that would be the idea to look for. I can drop the chart in the chat. You can look at the chart. If any questions are appreciated, by the way. If you guys have any questions, just shoot it in the chat. And if I remove this, let me just remove this real quick. So yeah, and if that doesn't work out, by the way, so what will be the next thing is we will be looking at something like this, that we reject from this value area low, and you can see there is a order block as well, order block. And not just that, if I draw Fibonacci from this high, from this swing high to this swing low, you can see we have a 0.62 level aligning with what I'm looking, where I'm expecting a rejection from. So we got a lot of confluences where inverse FEG, 1 hour order block, value area low, low volume nodes, and Fibonacci 0.62. So for me, this is like a really good and the structure is bearish. That's like the most biggest confluence. And for the price action wise, we have a lot of liquidity that is left and that is just waiting to be swept. So for me, this makes the most sense that we do a move like this and then go lower. So that would be basically the entry trade which I would be looking to do, by the way. So I'm dropping the chart in the chat as well. Do not place the limits, please. Just try to trade the reaction on the basis of what you observe. That should be your motto. So yeah, that is it for the Bitcoin. That is for the intraday plans. For the longs, I'm not really interested in the longs. As long as we do not flip this, I am just not interested in longs right now. If we see another nuke, then most likely this box is the area where I will be looking a long from. Either like, to be honest, I would love to long from here, like from this 85k zone. But I think they might not give that level. They just sweep all that, and then we get a long from somewhere here. So that is another area for the intraday, and I have explained that area countless times on my previous stream, so you can just go and look at that, by the way, if you're interested. So yeah, that will be it from me, from my side on the Bitcoin longs and short zone for the intraday's. Hope this was helpful. Yeah, I do not give trade setups on my streams. I give ideas. I try to like teach much as I can, so you guys can trade on the basis of that. And trust me, if you guys do not learn TA by yourself, at least the basic TA, you're never gonna be profitable. You can just never be profitable by following signals. In the end, you will need to learn something by yourself, and that is why we do these streams daily. That is the exact reason we do that. We do the recordings. We have a guy doing all these recordings for the exact reason, so you guys can learn. So yeah, I hope this makes sense. This is for the Bitcoin. Now the another chart which I would the another thing which I would love to talk about the Bitcoin, and I will show an example on the gold as well. That would be interesting thing to talk about as well. So if I go on my, you can see that is what I'm talking about. So that is basically, if you guys don't know, if you guys are not aware, this is called accumulation, manipulation, and the distribution model. And that is basically what is happening on the Bitcoin right now. And for more confirmation, I would just love to see breakdown below this level. If we get a breakdown below this level, then this would confirm the manipulation of this, and then we will be going lower to distribute to this, or potentially even the 66 and 74k level. So that is something I am must keeping an eye on for potential AMD play. Keep in mind, for accumulation, for manipulation to be confirmed, there has to be a higher time frame liquidity that needs to be swept, and you can see we have a daily FEG aligning perfectly with what we need. So for me, this idea makes the most sense. This is also aligning with the golden pocket. I mean, if I draw Fibonacci from high to the low, you can see we have a golden pocket which we just retested. So for me, things are not looking bullish on the Bitcoin on a higher time frame. I am not bullish on the Bitcoin on higher time frame. Just for instance, not a fan of how we are leaving the lows, and sorry, and not a fan of how we are playing this accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. We also did the same thing on higher time frame, on the all time high. You can see I explained that more deeply on my live stream. If you're interested in hearing about this, you can just go and watch my last stream, and you can see how the AMDs are usually done. You can see we swept the higher time frame liquidity, and boom, we had a huge dump. So very something similar I am expecting here on the Bitcoin. Now I can talk about the gold. I wanted to talk about the gold real quick, because same thing happened on the gold, and you could have traded the all-time high if you knew what's happening on the gold, if you knew how to trade the AMD. So yeah, by the way, if any questions about the strategy, about what I just explained on the Bitcoin, or anything in general, I would really appreciate, because that is what we do streams for. Give me a second. Let me just figure this out. Yeah, the squirrel is good. Do I need to? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So this was the cold chart. So for me, you can see this was our accumulation range, right? This was our accumulation range. You can see the price was consolidation, accumulation, whatever you want to call, but I would call it consolidation. This is not a range. This is moreover like a consolidation, really hard to trade. So what price does is that price goes and sweep this resting liquidity, which we had. Not just that resting liquidity, we had this imbalance. So price swept both of this, and you can see what it does next. It pumps. So that was your manipulation basically. Because why? First, price does an accumulation, consolidation, and then price sweeps the higher time frame liquidity. That is the most important part of it. You need to understand that price sweeps this 4 hour imbalance, and then you can see what price does is that price distributes to the above side, and you can already see this was like I think 1,000 pips move. I don't know. I don't trade gold and forex, but people who does would know better. So that was like the most obvious trade idea for you. I hope you took along, if you follow the trades gold, and if you know how to trade the AMD, because this was like really obvious. So if you ask me, if you ask my personal thoughts, what I was expecting is that I was expecting a bearish AMD, by the way, and I had a really good reason for it, and it was purely because of liquidity, and I was wrong because I missed this imbalance, which was like really obvious. So do you see how we have this liquidity pending to be swept here? That was my overall reason that price would go up, sweep that, do manipulation here, and then price will go down. That was my like original reason that that is what we are gonna do. So, and funny enough, I was really confident on this, but then what happened is price did opposite, and price did a sweep of this high time frame liquidity, and then price went up. So that is why I say never place the limit. Be reactive. be reactive to what you observe. So I observed that we have done a manipulation on a lower side. I called my friend who does the forex and I said, okay, AMD have been done. You can look for entries, and he also agreed with me, and he took along. So yeah, this would have been a good trade. So I will highly advise that you guys study the AMD, because it is a really important confidence that you can add to your strategy. So that is it for the overall Bitcoin update. I think there is nothing much I can update. That was the intraday plan that I wanted to share with you. I will just wait for my limits to get hit. Before that, I'm not really interested in any longs. You can potentially look for longs here, but I'm just not a fan of whatever we are doing this here. So I will just keep an eye and observe the price action, because that is the max we can go. Now, if you guys have any chart request or coins request or any questions, shoot them up. We will cover that. Otherwise, of course, we are good to end the stream. So yeah, hope this makes sense. Any feedback is also appreciated. Esther, yeah, we can look at the Esther and what I think about the Esther. Sure. Let's start with the daily, because that is how you should do your analysis as well. Oh, that looks cooked. That looks cooked, man. Oh my god. Yeah. If you're in an extra trade, bro, I would just say cut it out. Like, what is even that? I mean, why do you even want to trade this when you have an asset like Bitcoin? First of all, that would be my question. Um, yeah. Overall, like you can see, we have broken. This was our range, right? Let me just go on a lower time frame. Let me just go on a lower time frame. You can see this was our range, right? You could have been doing range trading, but you can see now we have done we have broken a range, and so it makes most sense that price does something like this and then go lower. I mean, I don't see why it would go higher. We can potentially even go to fill this wick that we have created, that we often do. Like, I mean, now this is not a great example, but if you go and look at the charts of other altcoins, the 10th October wick that we created got filled on many altcoins. So there is a potential that we can do similar here. So yeah, I would be looking for shorts, honestly. I would be looking for shorts. Yeah, that is definitely what I will be looking to do. But this looks really bad, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't like. Yeah, I don't like whatever this is. Hmm. Let me just draw the Fibonacci. Like you can see, the trend is bearish, so we are of course leaned towards the short, and you can see the range I marked is also like a resistance now, and you can see we this is aligning with the golden pocket 0.62 level. So this would be the area where I will be looking for shorts. So you can look to play something like this towards the wick. That would be your target. That would be your target, basically. That's what I would be looking at, Esther, for sure. Other than that, I'm not really interested in trading that coin. I think it's dead. What do you think about XMR? Yes, I have heard about the XMR. Yes, sir. The problem is your name. I'm really bad with the names. Perzielen. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, man. Eczema. Yes, the thing is that, man, I do not like trade altcoins, because I have my strategy with the Bitcoin. I make money from the Bitcoin. If something is not broken, you don't need to fix it, right? So that is my motto, and I don't trade it. For the XMR, I'm already not a fan of whatever this is. See, that's how your instinct should be. That's how your trading style should be. You just look at the chart and you know, oh, that's bad. And trust me, and I learned it from my mentor. He said that you should have a watch list, and you should go over the watch list, and there should be a thing that excites you or makes you not excited. So when I see this chart, it makes me not excited, and it instantly make me not want to analyze this, because this is never a good sign. A wick like this is never a good sign, and it's not the type of wig that will get filled. That is the type of wig which most likely gets marks out the top. I hope I'm wrong, of course. But I can talk further. I just need to look at if there is a any I'm pretty sure there is a backend data, previous data on the XMR as well. It is just not showing on the Bybit for some reason. Yeah, yeah, that's it. I think that there is more data, but hmm, I just want to mark this out first of all. Yeah, heavily want to mark this out. Let me just still look if I can find the data. So that would be awesome. Yeah, unfortunately, it is not. So we will just use this. Which exchange do you trade on? I can chart it on that so you have a better idea. Yeah. So now, for of course, if we see it from higher time frame perspective, you can see this was like a bigger range, not exactly a range, but this was like a previous all-time high, I guess, because that is what the data shows me, and price did a breakout of that, and usually breakouts like this, if you even go on a Bitcoin, you will observe that when we did a range breakout of 60K to the 70K, you will see that we created similar candle. So whenever you see a candle like this on a breakout, that is like a really usual good sign, and you should not expect a retest. That is like a really good alpha. I'm telling you, most of the time you will never get a retest. Just make an entry in the current market price. You can wait, but most of the time you will never get entry on a retest if a candle like this gets printed. So hmm. If I go on a let's go on a 1 hour, okay? Let's see what's happening on the 1 hour. So you can already see on a 1 hour we are bearish. How this was you can already see that is what not I like about these coins. You can see how we are leaving the lows, and you have seen how we swept the lows. But then this is another a good sign because now we have swept most of this liquidity. So it makes most sense now we go higher. If we not go higher now, then it's gonna go lower. So we are at the do or die situation because we have swept all the lows that which we were not sweeping. So technically, since all of the liquidity have been swept, it should go higher, right? And that is what it's showing the signs of. You can see. Let me just show you what I'm seeing. So this was the low, right? And we did a break of a structure. Then we did another break of a structure on a 1 hour time frame, and now what we are doing, since we are in a bearish trend but now we have turned bullish, you can see we have done a break of structure on a bullish time frame. Not just that, we have swept, we have tapped this imbalance on a 1 hour imbalance, and we have swept all the lows. So for me, observing the liquidity and the previous price action, this indicates, and since we have a break of structure, this indicates that now we will go higher, and that is what I will be looking to do. I will be looking to make an entry on XMR. If you're looking for a spot swing, uh, it is like pretty simple. That would have been a good entry, but since you have missed it, you can either wait for some sort of retest. Yeah, retest and your invalidation goes below this weekly level, a daily closing most probably, but I won't advise it since this is like this can crash. You don't want to do a manual closings. um, for spot swing, your invalidation should be below this weekly level or ideally below this imbalance, something like this. But if you're looking for leverage longs, I don't do leverage trading, by the way. So yeah, I like this. I really like this. I really like reversals like this. This just tells you there are buyers in control. Do you see how reactive the how strong the reaction is from the 1 hour imbalance? But if you go on a Bitcoin, you won't see that reaction. That is what I'm talking about, which I don't like on the Bitcoin. I already like this on a 15-minute time frame. So look for something. If I draw Fibonacci from the lows to the high, what I would like to see is, yeah, that would be my area of interest. That would be my POI for sure. So yeah, I like this. Let me just look at if I'm missing something else. Yeah, so that would be my POI for the longs. For spot swings or for leverage longs, whatever you want to do, this would be your entry, by the way. This would be your entry. Why? Because there is a inverse FEG and golden pocket, and overall price structure have turned bullish, and we have swept the lows as well. And not just swept it, I think we have done a 4 hour swing failure pattern. Yeah, I like this. This is good. We have done a swing failure pattern. I like this already. So this would be a really good swing long, by the way. You can even potentially play like this. I have noticed the SFP. You can play it something like this. This is like a good spot play. If you want to play, if you get it, you can like have a stop loss a bit lower, and you can play something like this. Um, minute time frame. you can see for scarves you can look for area something like this. And I would not really like, I wouldn't, this would be your like max area. You can see this is a like a 15-minute order block and 0.79 level. This is your max level. If we do not get a bounce from here, then unfortunately this thing will go lower, and this would be just this would just confirm the top. So we are at the do and die level, and I think I will be placing the alerts, by the way, because I'm really liking what I'm seeing as well. So yeah, so that would be my area to look for longs. I hope we get it, and so you could get a good entry. So that would be it for the XMR. I hope it makes sense. I also tries to put the, the technical uh spice, so you guys know that I'm not just yapping out of my throat. I'm telling you what I see on the chart. And of course, I haven't seen the order flow, what's happening, etc. I really want to integrate the order flow trading on my strategy, because or if without the order flow, it's like you are trading blindly. So that is something I really want to integrate, and I will be doing it very soon. But that is it for the Bitcoin. I hope you guys like the Bitcoin update, because I like it. I mean, trust me, this is like great info. You can already see, in the start I show you that how my daily level was respected. So if utilize this information, for me, I'm like really bad with emotions. So that is why I missed that 90k long. So that is my levels most of the times my level worked, trust me. If I think Sash and I think Amine, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. They joined my streams from the start. I hope they remember I was talking about this level from days. When the price was here, I was talking about this level, and I was saying I will short this level, I will short this level, I will short this level, and I ended up not shorting it. And you can see what it costed. The price just absolutely nuked yesterday, and it is just looking overall bad. So I'm sometimes I just ended up not executing, but my levels usually works out really great. So yeah, then you can already see this was my intraday long level, but honestly I think this is a good decision for not longing. You can already see how shitty the reaction is. But yeah, I hope this all of this makes sense. If any questions, if any other altcoins you guys want me to analyze, would be good. Otherwise we are good to end this streams. Just let me know. Mm, yep, I think we are good to end this. I hope this helped, to be honest. I think this is a really good idea that we can play it out. And for the Solana and Ethereum, I'm not like really touching them right now. So yeah, hope you guys this stream helped you. Looking forward to on the next stream. Cheers, guys. Bye.